Hello, this is your Digital Super Saiyan 3 back with another video. Today, I get to my second of 4 Pokemon movie reviews. Today's review is Pokemon Heroes the movie. This movie came out in 2003, a year after Pokemon Forever. Pokemon Heroes the movie centers around these two Pokemon by the name of Latios and Latias, who are the guardians of this city named Altalmare, the City of Water. Basically, two women by the name of Annie and Oakley set their sights on Latios and Latias. Basically, Annie is more of a Annie is into jewelry, and Oakley becomes more genocidal as the movie goes on, as she basically wants to use this thing called the town defense mechanism, and basically they need to capture Latios and Latias to power it, as well as this thing that they want to get their hands on called the Soul Dew, which was created by the original Latios. And of course, they run into Ash Ketchum and friends, who traveled to Altalmare. At the beginning of the movie, we saw Ash compete in this water chariot race where a bunch of water-type Pokemon are mostly used. And along the way in this movie, Ash befriends Latias. He meets Latias, who was attacked by Annie and Oakley. And basically, after helping Latias escape, Ash and Pikachu later encountered a girl who Latias morphed into. And we see this girl was actually a friend of Latias's. And of course, her dad is this museum curator who also makes gondolas. Yes. Basically, the setting for this movie is inspired by Venice, Italy. A very good setting, if I might add, given the fact that, just like the previous movie, it takes advantage of its surroundings. And this movie is actually very beautifully animated. It definitely is well animated and well paced. And, well, we see this ability that Latios and Latias have in the movie called sight sharing, where Latias can see what Latios can see, and basically people who are around Latias can see what Latios sees. Basically, this is what Latios can do, and it's a really cool ability, and it's been seen throughout this movie a majority of 3 times throughout. Basically, Annie and Oakley eventually do get their hands on Latios, but not Latias. And they managed to resurrect some prehistoric Pokemon, which was an Aerodactyl and a Kabutops. And they basically sent Aerodactyl and Kabutops after Latias, just to add more fuel to this fire. And yes, the Soul Dew basically has conditions on it, where it's not allowed to leave this pool where it resides, or else total chaos will ensue. Basically, yeah, exactly like that. Annie and Oakley do use the power of the mechanism, well, mostly Oakley, as she becomes the more genocidal of the two. I forgot to mention the type of Pokemon that Annie and Oakley also use. They both have an Espeon and an Ariados. A very unique pairing, if I do say so. I mean, who else would you see a bad guy actually use an Espeon to do its bidding? Or an Ariados? But of course, they do their jobs well as villains. They do get stuff done, and yes, they do work for Giovanni. And yes, which attracts the attention of Jesse James and Meowth, who are just there. Surprisingly, this movie is actually very, like I said before, this movie has a very heart-wrenching... But before I could even say something, this movie does have this very sad ending where Latios sacrifices himself, where he and Latios save Altalmare from being destroyed by a giant tidal wave. Basically, especially since the fact that the Soldu got itself destroyed, and, well, yeah, because it was out of the pool too long. But, of course, this movie also has a weird moment where Latias kisses Ash. Yeah, Ash gets himself kissed by Latias. So overall, Pokemon Heroes is a very fine film. I say I would give it another watch if I could. Well, actually, I do in the near future plan to give it another watch. Heroes definitely had some good music, though, to accompany it. Very Italian themed. I mean, basically because it's played on an accordion. And it really does have this really good music to it. And this montage we are shown where Ash and friends are hanging out with Latios and Latias. And we get this really catchy song that's playing. I can't say too much about it, other than the fact that we do get the Pokemon Master Quest theme played in the opening of this movie where we had the water chariot race. Overall, Heroes, like I said, takes advantage of its environment, this city of water that's inspired by Venice, Italy. And of course we get this new Soldu after Latios sacrifices himself to save Altalmare. Latios survives, but Latios doesn't. But we get a new Soldu, and of course, a new Latios, and more Latios. Well, 2 more Latioses, and a Latios. Yeah, basically, those are supposed to be Latios' children. Yeah. Either way, this movie is very intense. It definitely balances from being lighthearted and very dark. The ending does get very dark, but at the same time, it's not as dark as what Forever did. But still, I say Heroes is a worthwhile watch. It's definitely a worthwhile watch if you're a diehard Pokemon fan. So, give Heroes a watch and judge it for yourself. I still say I would give it more viewings of that, and I do plan to get more viewings of it in the near future. But for right now, this has been your Digital Super Saiyan 3, and I'll see you next time.